Hey guys, welcome back to today. So today we're going back to our nunchucks. All right, so I hope you watched the second Kali video. All right, the second Kali video, because we're basically gonna do a lot of the same stuff, but now we're gonna do them with nunchucks. That's what we're doing. All right, so today we're gonna learn two techniques. It's going to be our forehand combat strike, which looks like this, right? And we're gonna learn our downward combat strike, which looks like this. Eerily similar to a forehand horizontal strike and then a redondo strike, all right? Very similar. I want you to kind of understand that nunchucks and Kali, they mesh together very well. I like to use Kali concepts and apply them to nunchucks, and I want you to be able to do the same thing as well. All right, so what this is going to look like, we're going to start off here in our guard position, holding it with both hands. We're going to pass one over as we go palm up with the one that we'll be striking, all right? And then from here, we curve around. Once we get to the side, we're going to touch this part, right, of the chuck that we're not holding, touches right to our side, and it's going to wrap around our side. It kind of slaps your back a little bit. And then our other hand is going to clasp down, right? So I bounce first, and then it bounces into my hand. I strike, bounce first, and then bounce it into my hand. And then I'm able to catch it with my other hand. If you can, I want you to try to catch it in the black. A lot of the time you'll find that it's going to go here and you're going to catch it up here and then you adjust, all right? So I might catch it here and then I adjust, and that's fine as well. The idea is to be able to get positive control again very quickly. Even if it's a middle grip as opposed to a long grip, that's okay because we can adjust the grip on the fly. All right, so starting off just in our squared position, we're just going to do forehand combat strikes for 2 minutes. Ready? Begin. Pass it over, strike horizontally, catch it after the rebound. Boom, it's gonna bounce off your body and then you catch it. So we're alternating hands each time. That's why we're doing 2 minutes here. I'm going to pass it over and strike. Pass it over and strike. Just like this, nice and slow. Once you feel comfortable, you can start speeding it up. If you feel even more comfortable, start turning the hips, right? Remember, the power comes from the hips. I can step with this whenever I'm doing it. If it's slapping your back, that's all right. As long as you touch the tip of the chuck that you're striking with to your side, it should wrap your back and not actually hit it with a lot of power to where it can hurt. All right, now when you're doing these strikes, try to have them all going through the head level, or if you want, you can aim towards the leg, but I want you to be conscious of where you're aiming, all right? I aim low, I can aim high, and high and low. So if you want to play around with that, that's fine too. Maybe right high, left low, right high, left low. Now right low, left high, right low, left high, right low, left high. So play around with this. Figure that out. Keep it going. If you want, you can add your steps, right? Step forward and stepping backwards. 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards. If you know footwork patterns, you can apply your footwork patterns to this as well. All right, we have a lot of different footwork patterns that we can be doing. Keep it going. We got about 5 seconds left. And time. All right, so that was our forehand combat strike. Our next one is called a downward combat strike. It's our redondo, all right? So same thing with our redondo, like our forehand strike. I'm going to strike and I bounce it off my body first, right? Boom, I'm here and it's bouncing off my body and I catch it from that bounce. I'm not going to go directly into my hand, right? Like this. Yeah, sure, it works with these foam chucks. I forgot my wooden ones today. I was gonna do the wooden ones for this one, but it works with these foam chucks. It doesn't work too well with wooden ones, and it definitely doesn't work too well when you start whipping these, all right? Boom, right into your own hand. You're gonna have a bad day, right? Don't do that. Strike, bounce it off your body, and then catch it, all right? Again, if you catch it in middle grip, just go to that long grip. 2 minutes. No, I lied. We're gonna do 1 minute. We're just gonna do one side, and then we'll do the other side. Ready? Begin. Try to get it mostly straight down. It's gonna have a little bit of an angle, right? Just like our redondo had a little bit of an angle. but I don't want it going and being like a forehand strike. I want this one downwards, and I like to aim these ones at the hands, but you can also hit the head. Bounce it off your body each time. You can practice going forward with it. All right, press forward, come back. Press forward, come back. Keep it going. As downward as you can. Now don't go sideways like this, right? This chuck that you're striking with shouldn't go sideways. It should be like a stick, right? It should be straight, not focusing on that bend. Have it straight. Use those blade edge. All right, time. Now we're gonna do the exact same thing with our other hand. So left hand this time, and begin. Bounce it off each time. And now when you inevitably miss it, whatever, who cares? I miss it too. Just keep going. One thing I like to say about nunchucks, you can make a lot of mistakes. You just can't stop after a mistake, right? If you make a mistake, pick the chucks back up, do one more rep, make it correct, and then you can put the chucks down and stop and go do whatever you're gonna do, all right? But don't ever stop after a failure. Pick yourself up, pick the chucks up, do it again, get it right, and then you have permission to stop. Keep it going. Keep it going. Try to get positive control each time. Some of the time I get lazy and I kind of just circle my hand and kind of imagine like I'm pulling a katana out of the sheath. Don't do that. Try to get a clasp on it and then another strike, a clasp on it and then another strike. All right, I gotta call myself out because sometimes I get lazy and I do that stuff too. Time. All right. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put those together. All right, so we're going to use our, so for chucks, I call this a step up and back footwork, but it's Ginga, right? So if you've been doing capoeira with me, all right, Ginga. We're gonna do this exact same pattern now. So we're gonna step up and we're gonna strike one and strike two. Now, one thing to remember, whenever you're doing a downward combat strike, you're gonna be doing it with the lead hand, right? So whatever leg's in front, that hand is the one that's gonna do it. I don't want you doing it this way. All right, you see how weird my body looks? Or chances are I'm just gonna hit my knee if I'm not in the proper angle. It's not gonna be good, right? So lead hand is the one that's gonna be doing this. So we're going to step one, step back, use that lead hand for that downward combat strike. Step two, and strike. So in between the steps, right? So I have one as I step squared. As I'm stepping back, I actually switch the hands that's striking. Now I strike with the same hand, and I step back and I switch the hands. All right, same hand and back. All right, we're gonna do this for 2 minutes. Ready? Begin. Step up, strike forehand. Step back, downward. Step up, forehand. Step back, downward. Step up, forehand, back, downward. Up, forehand, back, downward. Forehand, downward. Forehand, downward. Forehand, downward. Forehand, downward. Forehand, downward. Time it with these steps. 1, 2. I like to strike and then I move back out of the way after my downward, right? So my body weight might be forward. If I'm doing it this way, all right, forehand, I'm striking here, but then I'm receiving it here. My body moves back, that way I'm getting myself out of the way. I like to think of this as I'm striking their hand as they're coming at me, right? They're doing a strike at me, boom, I'm striking their hand. I'm getting back out of the way as I strike. My first one strikes them, my second one strikes their hand. First one strikes them, second one strikes the hand. Strike them, strike the hand. Get this footwork going. Whenever you feel more comfortable, you can add more space to the footwork and you can press off of these. 1, 2, 3. Right? And make this more of a box pattern drill. Here, here. So I can create a lot more space when I'm doing this. I don't have to stay tight with it, right? With little movement. I want to move more. With chucks, you need to move. You need to be the person moving around whenever you're fighting. You have to manage distance really well whenever you're using chucks. You don't have the benefit of a stick, right, where you can just stay in the pocket and just whip it around. No, you have to account for all of the ricochets, and then you have to account for any time it bounces off your body. It takes time, and you don't want to be in striking distance time. You don't want to be in striking distance whenever that time happens, right? I want to strike, and then I'm getting out of the way as I have to be able to get my positive control again. So a little bit more difficult than a stick for that aspect. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing this, all right? So hopefully you enjoyed today's nunchuck class. I hope that you realize that the chucks and kali go very well together, right? They really do. The concepts in kali work very well for really a lot of weapon systems. So I want you to try to bring over the things I teach in other classes into all of them. I'm trying to mesh them all together, and I want you to see that as well. All right, hopefully you like this. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. All right, have a great day.